When I first, when I discovered I was pregnant, one of the things that I was 100% sure about is that I did not want to be broke. So because I knew I am self-employed, I knew that I actually had to put systems and structures in place. So the first thing that I had to actually do is to build an emergency fund. When I say I had to build an emergency fund, I actually wanted to build an emergency fund for my business. Guys, if I could tell you just how much peace that gave me, I don't even think I can explain it. That was one of the best decisions I have actually ever made. Towards my due date, we were literally almost meeting like on a weekly basis. So like I created content for like September, October, November, and a bit of December. So throughout especially the first 4 months of my child's life, the videos that you guys were watching, we had actually created them like way before I actually gave birth. During the months leading to me delivering my baby, I actually did a lot to upsell my digital product. I thank God every day for the wisdom and the ability to be able to set these things up before I became a mom. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Finance Friday. As per usual, I'm your host, Coach Susan, and I'm very happy to have you here. We are shooting at Sarova Pan-Afric, and I don't know if you guys know, but Sarova actually has a women-only wing that is called the Wangari Maathai wing. I really have loved experiencing the facilities on that particular wing. If you are a solo woman traveler, or you would just like to have like a staycation, or you're visiting Kenya or Nairobi and you would like somewhere where you feel like the care is feminine, from how the rooms are set up to the people who are actually going to be attending to you. The entire team is an all-woman team, from the cleaners to housekeeping to the people who will actually be attending to you. It's an amazing touch that Sarova Pan-Afric have. So if you're around the area of Nairobi CBD and you'd like a night or a week or a weekend with your girls or by yourself, whether that's for business or leisure travel, feel free to check out the Wangari Maathai wing at Sarova Pan-Afric Nairobi. So last week we had part 1 of this conversation where I shared with you guys some motherhood and money realities that I wish that someone prepared me about. And I promised you guys that for today's episode, I would be taking you guys through what I did to prepare myself for maternity leave as a self-employed woman. Now, obviously, when I first, when I discovered I was pregnant, one of the things that I was 100% sure about is that I did not want to be broke or overwhelmed during my season of motherhood, or during maternity leave. So because I knew I am self-employed, there's no HR, there's no package, there's no department due to do what for me. I knew that I actually had to put systems and structures in place to create that experience for myself. So I knew that I wanted to actually have a maternity leave of a minimum of 3 to 4 months. That is something I knew. And at the same time, I knew, so those were 2 things I was sure about. I didn't want, I didn't want to compromise on that. I actually wanted to have time with my baby without thinking about work or without working. And the second thing that I knew I wanted was that I didn't want to close my business or be broke or have to go back to zero just because I've become a mom. So today, I want to take you guys through the different things that I actually did to prepare me for that season. And hopefully, as I share that, you can borrow a thing or two that you can apply in your own finances as you plan for your motherhood journey. You guys know, mimi ni madam emergency funds. So the first thing that I had to actually do is to build an emergency fund. But it is not the kind of emergency fund that, we usually will do. Now, of course, I already had like my personal emergency fund that I've been building from 2020 since I started working on my finances after losing my job. And I still have it, and I'm still working on it, and I'm still building that. However, because that is for emergencies and motherhood was not an emergency, at least not for me, I didn't want to tap into the finances into that emergency, because into that emergency fund, because I knew, real emergencies might come up now that I'm a mother. Illnesses are a thing, and many other surprises that you may not actually foresee. However, motherhood in itself was not an emergency. So when I say I had to build an emergency fund, I actually wanted to build an emergency fund for my business. So I have a small team that supports my business. So I do have a videographer. Hi, Jed. Hi. You can't see him, but he's here. So of course I have a videographer. I have a team that also handles my web, my website together with the web maintenance. And I wanted that to continue so that even as some of the things that were ongoing on my website were happening, I would still have someone supporting me. And then I also have my virtual assistant. So on the bare minimum, there are 3 people that I did not want to compromise on losing, even though I was going to go into a season of not actively earning. On top of paying my 3 team members, I also do pay for certain subscriptions. For example, because of doing webinars and training or big companies on Zoom, so I also have to pay certain things like Zoom, premium, and PandaDoc for signing of contracts and whatnot. Those are just like the technical aspects of the business. However, I had like a bare minimum that I wanted to maintain. So remember, I told you I had 2 goals. I didn't want to be broken. I didn't want to close my business, and I didn't want to compromise on time with my baby. So in order to keep the semblance of a business running, I wanted to retain those 3 people. So I did an emergency fund. Initially, the goal was to do a 6 months emergency fund so that I'm actually able to stay with my baby for as long as 6 months without worrying whether I'd be able to pay all the monthly obligations in the 6 months. Because remember, because I'm not actively like working, I wouldn't be necessarily like be actively working from my main source of, actively earning from my main source of income, which is coaching and trainings, right? So because I wasn't taking any coaching clients and I wasn't taking any trainings, then it meant that the majority of the bulk of my income would not be coming in. So as I said, the goal was to actually do a 3 months emergency fund. But because my booba decided to come a bit earlier, my baby did come early, he found me at like the 5 months emergency fund mark. So I did that in a money market fund, SC Shilingi by Stanchart. And that's where I would pay like, all the monthly obligations from without worrying. And at least I knew like for the first 5 months of my son's life, I wouldn't have to actually worry about finances and whether I'd still be able to meet the bare minimums for the business. Guys, if I could tell you just how much peace that gave me in those initial 5 months, I don't even think I can explain it. That was one of the best decisions I have actually ever made. And I actually saved that money like from the moment of course, the business emergency fund did actually have some money. However, now after I discovered I was pregnant, I went on steroids in terms of funding that account. So if you're a self-employed woman, or if you intend on taking like a long break from work so that you can focus on your babies or focus on motherhood, I would highly recommend that you actually do an emergency fund. If you're a businesswoman, the ball game is totally different. Make sure that you have like, of course, that personal emergency fund for personal emergencies. However, the business, even if you're not a mom, by the way, let me just put this as a disclaimer. As long as you have a business, I would urge you and I would advise you, even if you're just a freelancer, please have an emergency fund for your business so that that business doesn't struggle financially. Because if the business is struggling financially, you will actually have to go back into your personal pocket to finance the affairs of the business. And that will just put you at a worse off position. So please realize that you as an individual and the business as an entity are 2 different things. So if Susan Wanjiko has an emergency fund of her own, then the Legacy Hub Kenya should have an emergency fund of its own to avoid all that amalgamation of funds that would create confusion at a time when we are trying to reduce the mental load as much as possible. So that's one of the things I think I did right at the time that allowed me to have 5 to 6 months of the business as I raised my baby. The second thing that I did to prepare for maternity leave as a self-employed businesswoman as well as a content creator was to bulk create content for around 3 to 4 months. Now, when Jed and I were sitting down now to like create a strategy for what would happen to the YouTube channel when I went on maternity leave, guys, I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to like be burping and, I've had a rough night. The baby has been crying. I've probably been crying. And then I'm here trying to like hi guys, welcome to another episode of Finance Friday. I didn't want to do that. So one of the things that we did is that towards my due date, we were literally almost meeting like on a weekly basis. So like I created content for like September, October, November, and a bit of December. So throughout especially the first 4 months of my child's life, the videos that you guys were watching, we had actually created them like way before I actually gave birth. So it really, really helped me in 2 ways. Number one, I wasn't so worried that like my YouTube channel would like just go silent and dormant, because remember, this is also like a passive source of income for me. It's not like crazy amounts of money, but I also would not say it is bad money that I don't want. Do you understand? Oh, and by the way, in this moment, Tebo, click that subscription button, because majority of you guys who watch me are not even subscribers. Please subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell, and share this with your friends so that we can keep earning kidogo passive income here and there as we give you this valuable information. Anyway, back to it. So we decided to bulk create content, and like throughout the 2024 up to August, I actually was not worried that my YouTube channel would disappear, that the earnings would decline. At least the videos kept going up. There kept being engagement in the comment section, which meant that Google kept cashing me my check every 21st of the month. So that was something that I really, really am grateful. Like now in retrospect, I remember I really hated all those days we were meeting. Like I just felt like I'm so tired of talking to the camera. Honestly, it was just it was a bit too much. But it really, really helped, because now every Friday for the first 4 months, we had content coming up onto the YouTube channel, which at least sustained my business in a way. For some reason, that kept even my virtual assistant very busy, because she would still get inquiries, would still get people asking to get sessions with me. And because of that, guys, that was so powerful. By the time I was resuming work, now coming into 2025, it really helped, because of the videos and the content that we were doing, we still kept getting inquiries. And what we did is that we put like a waiting list, so that now the people who had been interested in working with us, by the time January and February came, and we were able to collect all their information and then reach out back to them and ask them, hey, Coach Susan is back, to take in coaching clients. Are you still interested? And we got quite a number of them. I would say maybe 50% of the people who are on the waiting list actually like did pay for sessions, and like, oh, she's back. Fine. Let me book a session. So that helped with the business continuity plan. So I feel like that's one of the things that I feel I did right, in terms of just ensuring that as much as I took a break, by the time I came back, I wasn't coming back to crickets. Like I came back to people who were actually waiting and willing to wait, to work with me. So that really worked in my favor at the time. The third thing that I did to prepare financially for maternity leave was to prepay some black tax obligations, as well as, so there were some two small bills. I think the first one was some, of course I still do black tax happily now, because we've been able to get it under management. So I did that for 6 months in advance. I also did, so my best friends and I also have like a investment group that we contribute money into. I didn't want to be the one dragging people behind. So I also contributed into that like 6 months in advance. And then a few bills in the house. I think I probably even paid for something like internet for 6 months in advance. I think those were the 3 things I can remember off the top of my head. But for me, the greatest worry was like my black tax obligation. Again, remember that I was, I still am, but I was like a first-time mom, a new mom. I've never done this. I've also never done it as a businesswoman. I didn't know what to anticipate. And the black tax obligations back at home were and are still non-negotiable. So I needed a plan to know, like, instead of putting other people in trouble and like trying to explain to them this, and this is just a personal choice that my husband and I made to have a baby. I felt that it was just the responsible thing to do. And guys, that really helped me, like not having to think about those bills for like those 6 months. Maybe something that I should add, in full transparency, also during those 6 months, my husband was taking care of everything else in the house. Like I did not have to actually worry or think about not a single bill. So the biggest bill for me was just that, the black tax. And then, of course, this investment group that my friends and I had. But like for the majority of the things, from the help in the house to shopping to, of course, now the household running, that's, something that I really appreciate that he did for me or for us and our family. So I think it really gave me that mental break that I needed to actually be able to, like, I'm not like worrying constantly about, my business is not making money. Then there's this bill. Someone is calling me to remind me that I've not paid for this, that, and the other. Prepaying your bills will really help. And this doesn't just apply. Maybe let me coach you a little bit here. It doesn't just apply if you're going to be going into maternity leave. If you know that you are getting into a season of low earning or no earning whatsoever, I think one of the best things that you can do right now, if you have money, is to prepay some bills. Okay? Even if you're gonna be moving out, I mean, I'm seeing young people just get, like, you get your first job this month and then next month move out. Madam, ebo wacha hizo jokes. Like, prepare for some of these things. Prepare for the rent 3 months in advance. The utilities that you can prepare, like internet, please pay that like 3 months in advance. Put aside like something for like 3 to 6 months in advance, because sometimes you just never know how things will transpire. And even with motherhood, sometimes people get sick babies. Sometimes you even think, like for me, I thought I would genuinely just stay home for like 3 to 4 months, but I actually ended up staying with my baby all the 6 months. Right? Because I got a colicky baby that was clingy and, all of that. Like, akuwa nafurahi mambo ya kukua outside, so alikuwa na, kicking and fussing. So of course I stayed longer than what I had actually anticipated in terms of how long I would stay. And then, of course, as I shared with you guys last week, I thought it was just 6 months. Bro, listen. Even after the 6 months, now we are already like past the 1 year mark. I'm still going through the motions because, as I told you guys, one day things are like this, the other there's this emergency, the other time he's unwell, the other time he's refusing, I don't know what, he's not feeding. And your attention as a mother, just that maternal instinct forces you to kind of like want to be there with the child as opposed to be out there slaying in the world. And because of that, I think we already talked about that in terms of the impact it has on you financially. So because of that, I still feel like it is very, very important to, if you can be able to prepare whatever you can be able to prepare, it is really, really interesting. Maybe at this point, I would like to mention something in preparation for maternity leave. It wasn't like on my points here, but I think it is important to mention because it's something my partner did for me. By the way, ladies, especially kama you're married, if your husband is able and he's not like, he's able, he's in business or he's doing a good job and he is able, please rest in that motherhood season kidogo. Like, don't be, as much as we are independent and empowered women, accept that help. And even if he doesn't like offer it the first time, please just ask for that help. For some men, you won't have to ask. They will just know automatically that, my wife is going to be focusing on this, so let me just carry the, this other load. However, even if he doesn't like immediately offer it, I think sometimes we don't even want to ask in the first place. If you're able to ask, wacha ikweni that you asked and he said he's unable or he said no, but you will know you asked. But however, if that is something that you can afford to do, please ask and accept that help. It's really going to go a long way, because I think for me, my partner taking like the grunt of the financial burden during that season really went a long way for me. So I thought that is important to mention. The fourth thing that I did that really, really helped me prepare financially for maternity leave is that during the months leading to me delivering my baby, I actually did a lot to upsell my digital products. Now, this is something that if you're a content creator or if you're in the online and digital space, you probably understand. Now, I do have a couple of done for you offers. So I have like a done for you personal budgeting tool that is 750 bob. I have a done for you business finances kit that is 1,000 bob. I have a budgeting course, a self-paced budgeting course that you can just buy and watch while I teach you how to budget well. That is 2,750. I also do have like an investments course, one for 4,000 bob and another one for 15,000. All of these were products and are still products that are on my website. Maybe I can put like a few snippets on the screen right here. But like, as you can see, all of these are digital products that you can actually buy from my website, right? Now, these were my source of passive income. And that's why I told you guys that like during this motherhood period, it's not that I have earned zero. I have earned just a lower income, meaning that I wasn't actively earning from what makes me the most money, which is the corporate trainings and the VIP coaching sessions and, you know, the one-on-one sessions. However, even like on a random Sunday, I would be sat and maybe I get a notification on my phone that someone has bought a budgeting tool for 700 bob. And then another time I get a notification that someone has bought a course for 15,000 bob. And that really, really came through. Like, upselling my digital products on the website on the months leading to really created that hype. And even when I was away on certain weeks or I was drowning in motherhood on certain days, as long as there was traffic on my website, like, and, you know, people were buying a thing here and a thing there, I still was able to maintain, you know, some form of passive income from the digital product. So at least I was getting like passive income from YouTube and passive income from my digital products. And guys, that I thank God every day for the wisdom and the ability to be able to set these things up before I became a mom. Because even right now, because things are still a little bit difficult, I'm still in the ghetto. Msikuwa mnaona hapa nikicheka na nyinyi. I'm in the ghetto, guys. I'm still in the ghetto. But yeah, I mean, so we do have those tough days, hard days. And I feel like the fact that I still have like the, you know, this channel, and I also have like the digital products that, you know, are still selling on my website, that has really, really gone a long way in terms of helping me have some form of passive income. So, you know, I just needed that. Kidogo tu, consistent income kidogo tu ndo nikisikia nataka kwenda get a massage, I can get it. Yeah, I know it's vanity, guys, but mothers will understand. Some days you just want, you know, something nice done to you or done for you. But yeah, that was really, really huge. Now, the other thing that I think I really, really did well is how I strategically managed my team. As I told you guys, I do have like 3 people who support me actively in the business. And one of the things that I did, of course, is to start preparing them early. So of course with Jed we had a conversation and he knew that I wasn't gonna be like actively shooting during a particular period, so he also gave me the idea like to bulk create and whatnot, and that worked. Of course I had a conversation with my virtual assistant. I told her, you know, I'm gonna be off, I'm not gonna be able to check emails sometimes even for a whole week or for 2 weeks. Are you up to the task? So we did a bit of training. I made sure that she's fully oriented in matters of running the business, responding to WhatsApp messages, responding to the emails and whatnot. And I also had a conversation with my web development and maintenance team just to notify them that and to give them access in case a client complaints about buying a budgeting tool and they were not able to access it. This is how you're going to take over helping them. And I just made sure that the 3 of them were all working together or liaising together even in my absence. And that kind of like created a form of continuity in the business that I still appreciate to date. One of the other things that I also did is to be very, very honest about what I could or could not do in terms of paying them financially. So for even some of them, we had to adjust the roles, which means that we also had to adjust the fee that I was also paying them so that I could also maintain something that I knew I could afford paying them every month. So instead of fully letting go of a team member because I'm unable to pay them, I became very forthright and honest with them in terms of like, this is going to happen and my income is, our income is going to decline because I'm not bringing in the big money from the trainings and from the coaching. So I want to keep you, but I need us to come into to come to a point of a compromise in terms of how you can still keep supporting my business while earning what it is that I'm actually able to pay you. The beauty is that all my team members are contracted service providers. So it's not like someone who's working for me on a full-time basis. So obviously that was, that has helped me along the way because I only pay them for the services that they actually are providing me at a given point in time. So because the deliverables reduced, I was also able to reduce the fee I was paying them. And then the Stanchart emergency fund that I had was able to help me pay them throughout the 6 months that I was not actively earning from coaching and training. Okay, so that was very, very helpful. Now, what did I learn, maybe in conclusion from that process of preparing for, motherhood and maternity leave and whatnot? I think the first thing that I learned is that budgeting and saving is not enough. Guys, if you're going to be getting into this, especially as a self-employed woman, you really, really need to have a strategy. Just saying, oh, this is my Excel sheet, this is my budget, and these are my savings is not enough. You really, really, really need to have the ability to think further than just the bills for today. Because for me, I wanted to come back to a business that still had the systems and structures that I had built. So that meant, finding the money and the means to maintain those systems and structures like I had built them, which is why I really fought hard to still retain my team and to still keep paying them, because I wanted to still come back into this business and find these people here and still find the systems there, right? I also had to think about worst case scenarios. I didn't just tell myself that, oh, I have this personal emergency fund in case anything else comes up. I'm actually gonna dip into that. I thought, okay, why can't I just build a fund for this season of my life so that I don't impact money that I've actually worked so hard for 4 years now to actually be able to, get to where I am today, only to liquidate it fully just because I became a mom. So I wanted to enjoy the process of motherhood. I wanted to be present for my son. I have never ever wanted to compromise my presence in his life or, not being that mother that he needs just because I need to be out there chasing money and making money. So I had to be strategic in terms of how I was planning. I had to, reduce what I could reduce. I had to talk to the people that I needed to talk to. So one of the things that I would say is that you actually do need strategy, you need systems, you need automation. And the other thing that I would say without a shadow of doubt, you need passive income. I think one of the things that maybe I would say as a parting shot is that now that you guys have gotten a brief snippet into what I did to prepare financially, I want you guys to go back and watch the video I posted last week. I'm still going through it. So even with all the preparation, even with the emergency fund, even with the passive income, even with the reorganizing my team and just reorganizing myself, it has made the process actually bearable, yes. And it has, I would not say I've suffered. I've not suffered. I've not felt where Enyewe finances are now getting to a point where it's scary for me. However, 1+ years, I'm still not sleeping full nights. I'm getting a maximum of 3 hours in the night. So you can imagine being sleep deprived for a whole year, having a crying baby that is in and out of hospital sometimes, and then, still being expected to show up in business, on social media, in social gatherings, to still show up with the same level of skill, tact, and excellence. It's something that is unsustainable. So obviously, I'm still experiencing things are not how they were, even if I had prepared, which is why I'm now such a believer. If I would advise any woman that wants to embark on the journey of motherhood, I know people want to just, I feel like our culture, the way it is, we have normalized a weird behavior. When someone complains about the season of motherhood that they are in, maybe for me, I've been very honest and open about my journey. Anyone who knows me personally knows I'm always complaining about the lack of sleep, the crying, the constant demand on my time and all of that. But I feel like our culture, the way we are set up is that we have this way of misconstruing what our fellow women are saying in terms of like, it's like when you say, yo, this is really hard for me and this is emotionally and financially and physically hard on me and my body. It's like someone wants to interpret that as if you do not love your child, you don't appreciate God's gift. That is not it. And this is one of the things that challenge us to change, because the more we change this narrative and the more we give women an opportunity to actually talk about their experiences and what motherhood really does look like in this modern day society where both men and women are working, where both men and women are being measured on the same yardstick, where in the office, a male and a female CEO will still be measured the same, and where the office will make jokes about how, you're no longer as sharp or as consistent as you used to be since you became a mother. All of these are the realities that you have to deal with, which is why, to conclude this video, I will say without a shadow of doubt that one of the best things that you can give yourself as someone who wants to enjoy motherhood and literally still retain that financial autonomy and independence, whether you're a married woman or a single woman, please start thinking about passive income. Passive income is the highest form of self-care that any woman can ever do for themselves, because you're not always, the days are not the same, the nights are not the same, the seasons and the months are not the same. And if your life is doing this and you've not created like a consistent stream of passive income, as long as your life is doing this, your finances will always be doing that. And that is a very destabilizing state of mind and of emotions to be in. So if I was to go back like years back to my younger self, I would tell her, I think I tried in terms of passive income. I could have done better if I knew then what I know now. However, if you've not started yet and you're wondering, Susan, what would you tell me now that you're a personal finance coach who's also a mother and you've experienced it, even if it's just for 1 year? I would say prioritize passive income if you can. It could be passive income from investments. It could be passive income from content creation. It could be passive income from digital products. You name it. Just get passive income. It's going to help you in the journey. So that has been my experience. I don't know what you guys think. Please let me know in the comment section if you enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions for me, please leave them down below. Nikiweza, nitajaribu kuzijibu. There's someone who called me out the other day and was like, Susan, you keep saying you'll answer our questions in the comment section and you never do. Guys, si kupenda. I really would like to be a bit more consistent in terms of responding to your comments and your questions. So feel free to leave them and I'll actually take some time to get back to you on it. Thank you so much for watching. Please share this video, like it, and also subscribe so that you might be notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.